Channel 2S is brought to you by New Type HQ. Get your kits and supplies at the link in the description below. Hello everyone, welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave. Last night was one of the biggest Gunpla events we have gotten in the last 3 years. We have been memeing hard recently on Bandai for basically making these big hyped up announcements and then releasing 2 or 3 models, but last night we got 20 new model kit reveals and it was absolutely insane. This night was so extreme, we had so many crazy reveals that I needed to bring along a friend to help.
Man, guys, when he's saying this was a hype stream, look, the Crow Samba's coming out of retirement to join in with 2S to just talk about this hype. This
might be the greatest moment of the 2020s. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in and talk about the new Master Grade Verka Zeta Gundam. I have very mixed feelings on the Zeta Gundam 2.0. On one hand, I think proportionally and stylistically, it's a very beautiful kit. I just wished it had a little more detail, and there were some engineering elements of the design that I found really annoying. And the Master Grade Verka fixes almost everything, but at the same time, it does introduce a couple little new issues. Right off the bat though, I am so happy that they kept those beautiful proportions from the 2.0. This is basically just a slightly more detailed version of the 2.0, and that is exactly what I wanted.
I think to clarify, when you mentioned detail, they're really trying to push this to have a more anime aesthetic than the more like mechanical style that was the 2.0, which I'm all about. I love flat surfaces that are more curved and has a more like anime color and style to it.
See, the issue that I had with the 2.0, it was super flat. Like there were no like surface details on anything. This has a little bit of texture to it. There's areas that are a little bit recessed. There's areas that are a little bit more pronounced, and just those little tweaks and adjustments to the armor makes the kit so much more visually interesting to look at without compromising the anime accuracy.
And what I'm noticing is there's a lot more color separation in this. Like pretty much like all that yellow looks like it's parts that are just going to snap underneath that white armor, which previously has been like just a bunch of yellow stickers, and everyone knows like yellow's kind of a pain in the ass to paint, so I'm all about this.
Yeah, the color separation on this looks gorgeous. Of course, it's going to also have those Verka water slides, so if you're a water slide guy, this is going to be a great kit for you. The one thing about these colors that is annoying me a little bit is I really don't like the shade of yellow that they chose. I'm not going to show the actual promo video for this, because last time I did, some asshole from Bandai manually copyright claimed the video, even though I was literally just promoting their products. But in the promo video, they literally showed this side by side with the line art, and the line art very obviously has a much darker, more orangey shade of yellow. Fortunately though, there's nothing a little bit of paint can't fix.
I can probably go either way with the yellow tone, but that bright yellow doesn't really like vibe as well as that orange yellow that we've seen, you know, in previous kits.
It's interesting, they kind of changed the silhouette of the backpack a little bit. I don't remember these white flaps on the top of the wings slanting that much to the side before.
Yeah, I think it was more flat, not slanted.
Yeah, I'm looking at my 2.0 right now. It's kind of on a top shelf, so I can't get a close look at it, but it is very different than this. Not only were those flaps flat, but the part where the red area of the wing is next to it, right where my cursor is much wider and more pronounced on the original kit as well. They've really done some reshaping to the wings and made them look a lot more streamlined. One thing that really annoyed me about the Zeta 2.0 was I didn't really like a lot of the engineering in the legs. The mechanism that you had to use to push the feet in and out was really scary to handle because you had to push and pull really hard on it in order to get it to work and actually actuate, and I always felt like I was going to break something. There was also this really annoying piece on the back of the knees that would sometimes just straight up fall off inside the leg when you bent the knee, and it would get jammed up in the mechanism and you'd have to like pull the leg apart to get it out. The Zeta Verka appears to have an entirely different mechanism in the legs for the transformation. There's a much more complicated transformation going on in here, and it looks like it's going to be much more well designed than the one the 2.0 had.
One thing I'm really hoping that it's going to have a better capability of is like standing straight up in like a very natural pose.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, the 2.0, you have to fight it in order to really get it to stand on its own.
Yeah, those ankles suck so bad.
Hopefully this one's more sturdy.
Okay, here's some footage of the transformation so we can kind of see what's going on with that. They did kind of increase the complication of how the arm transformation works, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. It seems like there's more stuff you're like opening up and compressing and collapsing, and I feel like they kind of over-engineered the arm aspect of the transformation a bit, because since the arms are completely enclosed inside the body, I feel like they didn't have to do quite that much to them. The wing binders themselves aren't too different, but they've definitely improved the actual armatures they're attached to. The originals, I don't know if you probably haven't transformed yours for a while, but the Zeta 2.0's arms for the wave Wave Rider wings, there were like 7 different joints you had to twist and manipulate in a very specific order to get the wings into the right position, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to work with. This one looks like just rotate, twist, fold, and you're done. It's a much more streamlined process.
Man, yeah, hopefully this is actually going to be an enjoyable kit to transform. Zeta historically hasn't had much, had many kits that are enjoyable to transform with the real grade and the 2.0.
So I couldn't find any pictures of it, but there's this really cool gimmick in the transformation where you can actually rotate the pilot's seat inside the cockpit to be in an upright orientation in both modes. You can have the pilot be sitting upright both in robot mode when the pilot's cockpit is vertical and when it's horizontal in the Wave Rider mode.
That's pretty awesome.
I've never seen anything like that in a Gundam before. Now, so far, we've talked about a lot of things that are really cool about this kit. However, now it comes to the part where we talk about some of the not so cool things. This is a 7,000 yen plus kit, which means that in the US it's probably going to be around $75 to $85. That is around $20 to $30 more than the Zeta 2.0. And you are getting a lot more here. Unfortunately, in some ways you are also getting a lot less. If you remember, the Zeta 2.0 came with a massive catapult deck that could be used as a display stand, and you also got the Hyper Mega Launcher, which was this enormous blue cannon he could wield. Here you can see the entire accessory loadout for this kit, and neither of those accessories are anywhere to be found. Now, I can understand them omitting the catapult deck since that's kind of a big accessory, but the lack of a Hyper Mega Launcher is really disappointing.
See, I'm kind of opposite. Like, the Mega Launcher, it's really awesome. I just don't always see it being a necessity for every single kit. It needs some kind of stand. I mean, even things like the Wing Zero is coming with a stand. A simple stand, like, that doesn't seem like a hard thing to include.
See, here's my argument for including the Hyper Mega Launcher in this kit. The Hyper Mega Launcher for the Zeta 2.0 was a cool weapon, but you could literally never display the kit with it because the hands on the 2.0 sucked so bad he basically couldn't hold it. It would have been such a huge selling point for the new Zeta Verka if he came with a Hyper Mega Launcher he could actually hold.
Yeah, that's true. I was saying the way I did mine is like it holds it, but it basically like tucks it underneath the armpit to kind of like balance it.
Yeah, the only way I've ever displayed mine with the Hyper Mega Launcher was with the buttstock on the ground, kind of holding it up like a spear. That's the only way I've been able to really get a good pose with that because it's just so cumbersome to have him hold it. So this kit being a modern model with the modern swap out fingers is a huge selling point, and it would have been an even bigger selling point if he actually had the Hyper Mega Launcher. What they might end up doing is releasing an accessory pack for this kit later on as a P-Bandai release that gives you the Hyper Mega Launcher, possibly with some updated handles.
Oh, that would suck.
You know they're gonna do it though. I'm not sure I'm gonna get this kit. This seems like a repeat of the entry grade news situation where this is a really good option if you don't already have the Master Grade Zeta 2.0, but if you have the Zeta 2.0, unless you're really dissatisfied with it, it seems like a hard sell as an upgrade.
I think overall, this definitely isn't like a one-day buy, unless you love Zeta with a passion and you don't own any Zeta kit.
I just noticed something really cool while I was looking at these pictures. I don't know if anyone's pointed this out yet, but he has freaking two-tone thumbs. The tip of his thumb is gray and the base of the thumb is white.
Did it always have that?
Yeah, look at the line art right here. The very base of the thumb where it connects to the hand is supposed to be white. That is anime accurate.
Oh shit.
If this was literally any other Gunpla event from the last 3 years, this would have been the only reveal of the night, and they would have padded out the rest of the show with some random non-Gundam kits. But because this is the best event of the year, we've only just begun to scratch the surface, because the next kit they showed off was the MGSD, that's right guys, brand new line, MGSD Freedom Gundam. Now this was a line that we kind of knew was coming because not only did Bandai officially tease it, but we actually saw a leaked trademark filing for this line several months ago.
It's one of those things that we knew was coming. Like they told us, hey, this is a thing that's going to be happening on this day. I still wasn't prepared for what I saw. Like it's definitely like everything that you love about Master Grade with the beautiful aesthetic of an SD.
I was initially not completely sold on this kit because I really don't like the more hyper detailed seed designs we're getting nowadays, but the more I see of this kit, the more it starts to grow on me. First of all, from a design standpoint, like the engineering and construction on this is incredible. You can see all these little callouts around the page where they're showing all the little articulation elements to this. This is a super posable, really fun kit to handle. And then when you go down further, you realize there's actually some Master Grade Extreme style innovations they're making here. So the eyes are these silver pieces, and this is apparently an injection molded silver, like a new type of metallic plastic that they're working on that's injection molded but still has that bright silvery look. And the way they're doing the eyes is you have a silver piece piece, and then you have a clear plastic lens that's overlaid over the top.
Yeah, and those details in those eyes, like when I saw it, I was like, whoa, I was like, that's pretty damn cool. Like, you see that in the anime quite often, like in the
close-ups. Yeah.
I was like, man, this is just a beautiful eye like sculpture.
Such a cool way to do it. And they're also calling out that apparently they're experimenting with a new way to mold the clear parts for the wings. It's almost like kind of the way that they like cut diamonds so they have different facets so they sparkle more. They're molding the clear parts with these little faceted angles in the bottom so they catch and reflect more light, which makes them look like they're glowing.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really read up on that. That's damn, that's really interesting.
That's a really cool little thing for them to experiment with this line, and if it turns out well, they could use that on a lot of different kits. You know what? Screw the Master Grade Freedom 2.0. That kit was kind of half-assed in my opinion. This is the Master Grade Freedom 2.0. The level of detail and engineering in here is incredible. And it's so crazy seeing that on an SD proportion kit.
And this reminds me of like the NX Edge line, because I love that line with a burning passion.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
That really edgy SD feel, whereas like normal SD kits, they're not as edgy. They're more like the cutesy kind of style.
If you showed me a picture of this a year ago, I would have asked you what third-party company made this. This does not look like a Bandai product. Now, price-wise, this is like 4,000 yen, so it's going to be around probably 40-50 bucks in America, which is a lot, but again, you're getting a lot of SD. Like, this is a real premium SD Gundam experience.
The fact that we're getting a new line, because like with the Master Grade EX, like it seems like we're getting into a whole new wave of just models. Something that they teased like many years ago. Like, I don't know if you remember that crazy like interframe prototype, but I feel like we're edging closer to just this new wave of just model kits.
I think it's also interesting that there seems to be a shift in what Master Grade is. They're kind of focusing less on making an expansive selection of general Master Grade models, and it seems like now there's a big focus on making every Master Grade release some sort of big event kit. The MGSD Freedom, the Verkos Zeta Gundam, the MGX Strike Freedom. It seems like every individual Master Grade release now is meant to be some sort of big event kit instead of just a piece of a larger collection. Yeah, and by the way, one last thing, this Freedom MGSD is going to be coming out January of next year, and I forgot to mention this about the Zeta, but the Zeta is going to be coming out in February, so these two kits are only a month apart from each other. So here's the funny thing. A lot of the info about this event actually got leaked ahead of time, and I didn't put a lot of weight on the leak because there was absolutely no way of confirming it, but the leaker got almost every single thing they speculated about right. One of the only things they mentioned that we didn't see at the event was a Master Grade SD Gundam Barbatos. Seeing as the rest of the leak turned out to be real, I think it's very likely that the next MGSD ends up being a Barbatos. So, I saw these, I saw the promo videos for these, I thought they were pretty cool, and then the moment I saw these, literally minutes later, because you have to understand guys, this info didn't get dropped at once. This was like, we see one new promo video, 5 minutes later, there's another one. 10 minutes later, we see some new pics go up on Twitter. It was a constant bombardment of new info all night long. But it was one of the hypest nights of my life, because the next thing we saw after the MGSD and the MG Verka was the freaking Tornado Gundam. Not only one of the designs that I've wanted the most from the SDG generation games, but it is an SDCS. That's right guys, the SD cross silhouette line is not dead, and it has finally returned. They are bringing back my favorite aspect of SD Gundam.
Just the fact that this line still lives makes me happy, because that means there's more possibilities.
As soon as I saw this, I knew it was going to be a killer event, and the 15 some kits that were announced after this were just icing on the cake.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an awesome looking kit. I've never knew about it before this presentation, so I mean, I'm gonna look more into it, look at some cutscenes from the video game, and I mean, it definitely looks badass and probably gonna be like a day one cop.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get one of these. I'm gonna need to go and track down a Phoenix Gundam now, because I unfortunately wasn't able to pick up one of those. I know this would like bump up the MSRP a little bit, but I would like it if they actually included both frames with more of the kits like they did with the Gao Gaigar and some of the other non-Gundam cross silhouettes. There's no official release date for this, it's just a 2023 spring release.
Buy it, everyone buy it so we can get more cross silhouette kits.
So after the Tornado Gundam, we got hit by an absolute deluge of high-grade Witch From Mercury kits. But cooler than all the high-grade Witch From Mercury kits was the one kit that we saw, the first kit that I've ever seen from Witch From Mercury that I was 100% sold on the moment I saw it. The Full Mechanics Gundam Aerial. What a beautiful kit.
What can you say? Like, it doesn't need words. It presents itself as just a beast, a straight up beast kit.
Sometimes all it takes to make me love a design is to just release the right model kit of it. I was not feeling the aerial at all, but this beautiful kit has instantly sold me on it.
This, like with the red chrome pieces and then the clear parts on top, that is just so gorgeous.
That was such a cool design element. As soon as I saw that, I was really impressed. So all the sort of, I'm going to call them psycho frame just because we don't know what they're actually called in universe yet, but all the glowy bits on the body, those are metallic red pieces with a clear piece layered on top. It's going to look incredible in person. All this gray, yellow, and blue on the shield, fully color separated. Here you can see a better view of how those metallic bits work. You got metallic bits and you got clear pieces that pop over the top. Beautiful kit, very sharp, crisp sculpt, which I think helps the design a lot. It doesn't have that kind of mushy look that the high grades do. It does all the gimmicks. You can fully separate the shield into the armor bits, just like in the show. Looking at the articulation here, it's got a sliding knee gimmick, just like a Master Grade would. This is about as close as you could get to a Master Grade. This is a beautiful, beautiful 1/100 kit.
And the best thing about it is, like, it doesn't look like just a blown up high grade.
Yes.
Much like a lot of the Iron Blood Orphans full mechanics felt. This is just so gorgeous.
Beautiful blue effect parts for all the blades. Love that aspect of the Gundam.
And those hands look like Master Grade interchangeable hands. They just look so good.
This kit is the first must-have I've seen from Witch From Mercury. Actually, let me see if they put a release date on this.
March.
Oh, it's March? Okay, cool. They actually showed a bunch of high grades as well. This guy here, the Michaelis, we saw some line art of this already. It's very much in line with the other Witch From Mercury high grades. It doesn't look any better or worse than any of them as far as like engineering goes. Design-wise, I think it's a pretty okay looking design. Again, a lot of these Witch From Mercury designs, they're just good enough to look passively cool, but none of them look like must-haves to me.
Yeah, like if I had this on my shelf, I don't think people are gonna like stop and stare. Like,
no.
They'll probably focus their eyes on something else, like, you know,
something flashier.
Or yeah.
Next one here is another variant of the Burger Boy. This is the Burger Penne. I don't care how the name's properly pronounced. I'm not going to even attempt to come close to pronouncing any of these correctly. They've got funky names, and I'm just going to accept that. This guy's got a big old cross shield. He's purple. I don't like him as much as a regular Burger Boy, but I think he's still pretty okay.
This has a lot of cool, like, aspects. I love the color a little bit more. Just that purple red looks really popping. And I'm glad you're showing the backpack because I'm a sucker for single verniers, but overall it's still like very meh.
So then we have this thing. This is kind of the base jabber of the series. I thought it was called the Tickle Balls at first. It's a very odd name that I don't know really suits a machine like this.
Yeah, I know a lot of people from the Philippines was talking about it.
Oh yeah, it's probably like a Filipino thing. It's got these cool little handles that pop up so other units can grab onto them. It actually, for a base jabber type unit, it looks pretty detailed. Now, I have no idea how much this is going to be stickers. I would imagine those yellow chevrons, the white pieces probably, the little marker lights on the wings, those are probably all going to be stickers. But for the most part, this is a pretty good looking little kit. I
don't know too many people that love base jabber type things. I've almost never seen a collection that had them on display, but I mean, this is your calling. There it is.
They're going out of the way to point out that the landing gear are actually retractable. They're not swap out parts. They're functional. It has retractable landing gear.
That's actually pretty cool.
This is pretty high effort for a base jabber type model, and with it coming out at retail, it's a lot more accessible than some of the ones that have been P-Bandai or bundled in with bigger kits. Only 1,400 yen, February release. So our other February release is going to be the Zowart. This is just a very simple looking grunt guy. Reminds me a little bit of the Hyakuri with how like kind of wide and flat the upper body is. Overall, just a very simple, unique looking mech. Yeah, so this is where we come up to one of the things I really don't like about the Witch From Mercury kits. So there's this idea in the Gundam fandom that polycaps somehow make a kit bad. I don't think the people that say that have actually built kits that don't use polycaps, because I've built a lot of P-Bandai kits recently that have cheaped out by not using polycaps for most of the joints. They kinda suck. Really, really bad. And unfortunately, it seems like with Witch From Mercury, there's a big push towards not using polycaps in the model. But like, you look at the shoulders here, that's not a polycap. There's no polycap for the bicep swivel, which is totally fine. Like, bicep and thigh swivels definitely don't need polycaps, especially with the modern engineering they have that lets them clip together really securely, but it seems like there's a push with these kits to just straight up not use polycaps. People didn't like polycaps when they were badly implemented. Polycaps themselves are not the problem.
I mean, the Master Grade new Vercom has a bunch of polycaps in it. It's sturdy as hell.
The thing with the Witch From Mercury high grades is This is actually kind of almost sub-high grade engineering. Look at how simple the arm construction is. This is like very cheap, very basic, bare minimum engineering.
Entry grade level now.
We're not going to ever get a master grade Zowart. This is going to be the Zowart model. So the fact that these regular Witch From Mercury kits are being so heavily cheaped out on is really disappointing, because these are probably the only kits that most of these mobile suits are going to get.
And hell, look at the Gundam AGE line. Like almost all, I'm pretty sure all those kits had polycaps, and each one is just a solid banger after another.
The AGE line was pretty much peak high grade. Watch my AGE 1 full Glansa review that I put up a few weeks ago. Go watch that video and see just how awesome AGE kits are. We got this guy here, the Hindray. He's a little bit of a funky looking guy. I gotta say, I kind of like the aesthetic they're going for the antagonist suits in this series. They have a very distinct look to them that's immediately recognizable without looking like they're copying some other Gundam faction.
The weapons are just really off. I don't like the buckler.
It is a weird weapon, how it's like a gun, a shield, and a sword all kind of stacked on top of each other. This is what I'm talking about with like this super cheap construction. Like the shoulder is just two pieces press fit together. There's nothing actually enclosing and holding the shoulder joint together. Anyways, the Gundam Cherubim decided to see if he could put on a little bit of cosplay and hide inside the Witch From Mercury line. This is the Lefrith and he's not fooling anyone. Honestly, as far as the Gundam designs in this show go, I am actually liking this one quite a lot. I might find myself picking this one up.
It also has a minigun, which is not bad whatsoever. I kind of like that.
At the very least, he does have proper ridge connections for his bicep joint, which is a bar that I wouldn't think I would have to praise Bandai for crossing, but with how the Witch From Mercury line is going right now, you can't really take anything for granted.
Does it go into what that thing on the back is?
I would assume it looks like some sort of shield, I think. There's a very prevalent gimmick in Witch From Mercury of funnels that turn like shields that turn into funnels, so I would assume that's what this is. The Cherubim had so much fun hiding in Witch From Mercury, he decided to repaint himself and come back for a second time. So this is the Lefrith Thorn. This is another Lefrith variant. This one's a little bit funky looking. He's got like these really weird stubby legs. He's got this giant backpack and these really long arms, and overall it makes the whole body look really weird and disproportionate.
And I'm all about it. God, this thing would have been so much better with a mono eye. It's so weird out there. Like, I love the thrusters on the front legs. Oh, it looks beautiful.
It's very clearly a spacesuit, but I love to imagine this thing just angrily waddling towards an opponent. Here's some cause for celebration. Double open hands. He's got both open hands, no putting them in stupid option sets like IBO did.
Yeah, that's what we need more of.
Wait, he has open hands. Most of the kits in the line don't seem to be coming with open hands, but both versions of Lefrith come with left and right open hands. That's a really cool feature to add. So anyways, the next thing we got is actually our first Iron-Blooded Arms style add-on. Now, like they did with Build Divers Re-Rise, these are just kind of folded into the main series. There's not like a separate line for the add-on sets, but this is just a nice little booster pack for your aerial Gundam. I'm also noticing by the parts that they're shadowing out and highlighting that this set is the way you get the open hand from your Gundam Aerial, so it seems like they are still doing a little bit of the IBO BS. On the bright side though, you do get both sides open hands, and it appears like the backs of the hands are colored correctly, which is a big bonus over IBO.
I mean, it doesn't look bad. I don't like how the color's just so drastically different than the rest of the suit. Maybe they explain it in the show, like maybe it's not really made for this suit, or maybe they made it in haste.
This is probably the coolest thing they've shown so far that I'm really excited for. We are finally getting action-based style stands that are designed specifically for displaying kits with funnels. This isn't just a Witch From Mercury add-on, this is something you need for all of your kits. Cubelays, new Gundams, all of them can really, really benefit from this set.
I mean, it looks like 3mm pegs.
This is one of those things that you're definitely going to want to stock up on when they come out.
Oh, yeah.
They're just an overall really great stand design, and I'm so glad Bandai's coming out with these.
Did you ever talk about in any of your other videos about how Witch of Mercury is just going to be like a 12-episode, like 3-month period, and then they're going to do another 12 episodes in April?
God, that's annoying. I hate that so much about modern anime. Like, I miss when you could just sit down and just watch a show once a week from start to finish. This whole stop-start BS is so annoying. So after dropping all of this incredible news on us, they dropped something that literally no one gave a shit about, which is 3 more SD Gundams for the SD Gundam World Heroes Whatever Who Cares line. If you're not an SD Gundam fan, these are going to mean nothing to you. If you are an SD Gundam fan, you're still not going to care about these because we just saw 2 much cooler SDs get announced. Now, before you go saying this thing looks cool, just remember, this is molded plastic. This thing is going to look like absolute ass when it releases. Literally, the whole thing is made out of that awful Bandai gold.
Yeah, it's like a mustard yellow usually, or it's going to be like that really weird yellow.
Then they showed off this other dragon thing. This one, it's standard SD World Fare, you know, who cares? This thing, it's the same thing but black, whoop-de-doo. you know, it's SD Gundam World stuff. Who cares? Let's move on. So there is a big reason I brought my man Krosama here today, and that is because we witnessed a monumentous event tonight. After almost a decade, we have finally seen the return of the Gundam AGE Master Grades. That's right, baby. We are getting, sure, it's Premium Bandai, but we're still getting it, a Master Grade Age 1 full Glansa.
If my family wasn't sleeping right now, I'd probably be just screaming, like, of just pure hype. This thing right here, I knew in my heart of hearts that we would see some kind of Master Grade of AGE in the future. The 10th year anniversary was just last year in October. Then we had the clear set Master Grade. I'm like, okay, that's okay. We gotta lead to something. This is what we was leading to right here. People are saying, oh, it's just a reuse, Age 1. No.
Yeah,
like,
it's a reuse of the Age 1, one of the coolest Master Grades we've gotten.
This is from the 3rd and 4th arc. This was fighting alongside the Age 3 and the Age FX. I'm not a conspiracy kind of guy, but look, my conspiracy, like, senses are tingling. Like, I think an Age 3 is in our near future, like, within 5 years at max.
Hey, if this kit sells really well, nothing's impossible.
I think there's been a change in the reception of AGE. Obviously, during airtime, it was very like lackluster in ratings. When it had its reprint, everything was being bought, sold out instantly as soon as these reprints was going out last year.
I will need to get my hands on one of these. Fair disclaimer though, I wasn't able to get super clear information on this before the video, but it does seem like this is going to be split into 2 releases. It looked like either A, they're going to do a full Glansa kit and then they're going to do a separate add-on for the Age 1 normal, or they're going to do the full Glansa without the backpack and then the backpack's going to be a separate thing.
It is going to have a complete set with the Age 1 included and everything, but then it did look like you're going to buy the expansion separately, because like why else would they show the Age 1 normal with those sets, you know, side by side?
I'm not going to be able to afford to get this as soon as it goes up for pre-order, but I will find a way to get one of these eventually because this is such a sick looking model. So this I don't think was overtly stated to be P-Bandai, but I think it's fairly safe to assume that it is. This is something that I've wanted for a long time, pretty much the only thing I wanted from Doan's Island, and that is finally the Southern Cross Zaku team, and it seems like they are doing all 5 of them as separate model kits.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie actually. Every time I was wanting to go to the theater, I just was not motivated. But I mean, they look good. They look pretty much like a lot of the previous Origin Zaku's, just obviously different details, weapons, and all that.
See, the thing is, showing them in gray prototype gives them a disservice because you don't see the awesome desert camo that they actually have.
Oh, they have a desert camo.
Yeah. Oh, right. You don't even know what these designs look like. Yeah. So these guys have like tan and brown, like desert camo. They look super sick.
Ooh.
What I'm not sure about though is how they're releasing this. It could be like a big 5-pack where they do them all together. It could be one kit you swap out parts on. Depending on how they do it, will definitely determine how many of these I buy, because I don't know if I want to buy 5 separate copies of this, but if they do one that gives you all the swap out parts, I might buy a couple of them. We'll have to wait and see. So then, in addition to that, something that I didn't see a lot of people talk about was the full display, because they actually showed off a lot of Origin kits, not just these, even though these were the clear main event. So we got a couple new models that we haven't seen before, and I believe both of these are retail releases. So first we have the Morocco spec version of the GM, which is basically just the kind of like the Slegger GM, but it's in orange and it's got the shoulder cannon from the Origin RX-78. And then we have what looks like a Char custom high mobility Zaku.
Yeah, I mean those two look fantastic, to be honest. Like, I definitely would love to grab those.
This is still not the classic colors GM, but I honestly really like this color scheme. I'm not going to go out of my way to pre-order the Slegger GM because while it is kind of a nice color scheme on a decent looking model, I don't feel the need to go out of my way to pre-order it. But with the Morocco custom GM, I can just pick this up whenever I like. I see it, I go, hey, that's a cool looking GM, and Bandai just made another sale by releasing a neat kind of oddball model at retail.
Yeah, and the powered GM colors, I think just always looks good.
Hold on. Here's something immediately that I'm noticing. First of all 5 of the Southern Cross Team Zakus have their own name tag. Secondly, the P-Bandai kits on the right have black name tags. All the other kits have white name tags. Are we about to get 5 separate Southern Cross Zakus at retail?
Yeah, that actually might be the case.
If they do, that would be absolutely insane. Either way, I'm guaranteed to buy at least one of these, and the way that they release them will determine how many more than that I buy. So finally, at the end of this whole 1-hour recording of Gunpla news we've done, we have the last couple kits. These are sort of Gundam-based Gundam event type exclusive kits. So here is the Gundam Side F exclusive Yukojima Jigen. This is literally just a regular high-grade Jigen, but with a blue torso.
Yep. Nothing spectacular.
It exists. It's a cool little souvenir for the people who want it. Then we have this, which is a little bit cooler, and this is a regular Gundam base exclusive of the high-grade Astray Red Dragon. Now, this is not a new kit necessarily. What they're doing is they're taking the Red Frame Flight Unit, which, by the way, despite its age, is still a pretty cool high-grade kit, and they're packing it with one of the old Dengeki Hobby magazine kits of the Keltowitch, the sword things that the Red Dragon uses. You get 3 of those, and I think they included some new parts for the V-fin, so it's actually the proper clear color, but for the most part, this is going to be one of those old magazine models that is molded in one color that you have to paint. So do not be fooled by these pictures into thinking this is a snap fit model. This is a model that is made for people who are comfortable with painting. But when you put in the work, you've got an awesome looking Astray variant at the 1/144th scale that you would not be able to get otherwise. Okay, so this is actually one last kit that we're talking about that I completely forgot to mention because it kind of got drowned out in the hype of everything else at the event. But right before all the chaos started, they announced a new premium Bandai kit of the main Gundam from UC and Gage. Now, this is a mobile game. It's kind of like this crossover thing. I haven't really played it. I don't really know what this design's about. Kind of a funky looking guy. He's got a little bit of GPO1, a little bit of G-Self, a little bit of Witch From Mercury in here as well. It's just kind of a weird approximation of a bunch of different Gundam designs, but we are finally getting it as an HGUC kit, so if you're someone who's a fan of this design, get ready for the P-Bandai drop.
I'm pretty sure the lore behind it is like just as chaotic as the name.
Yeah, this very much feels like the fan fiction put all the cool Gundams together into one design type of thing. Again though, it's got that crappy polycapless modern engineering where I'm not seeing any polycaps for the shoulders. I don't think it's using polycaps for the knees and the elbows. I think it's going to be clipped together joints. This is going to be another one of those half-assed unengineered kits like the Geminus and the Lord Astray where it just doesn't feel substantial enough. Yeah, this is going to be a hard pass for me.
Same.
Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and thank you, Crow, for hanging out with me this morning. I have no idea when today this video is going up. I've got like an hour of footage to cut through, so this might take a while. I'm probably not going to be doing a stream tonight because of that, but normally I do stream on 4 p.m. every afternoon/evening Eastern Standard Time, so if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when my next stream's going live. If you support the channel on Patreon, you do also get access to past stream VODs and some other perks. Obviously, you don't have to do it, but it really does help out the channel. Thank you again to Crow for showing up for this. As always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.
See you guys later.
I'd like to also extend a thank you to my patrons for helping make this channel possible, and a special thank you to my Master Grade tier patrons like Yank. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.